Om Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yen Characharam Tatparam Darshidam Yen Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurumlitam Yen Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So, today is just an introductory day, so we just know each other. From tomorrow onwards, we have what we would call a regular satsang, day after also. I didn't expect so many people here. Anyway, I have a feeling that many have come to take Kriya. And they are still confounded whether it's going to come or not come. What's going? Is that right? Yeah, because I see old friends here, known for long, people who have taken Kriya and perhaps practiced only on that day. No, sorry, there may be others who did practice regularly, but I'm not joking, there are many. So, can you put up your hands, those who want to have Kriya? There is no compulsion. Do you all, how many of you want to take Kriya? Not the people who already done. Many. So, tomorrow is going to be a regular satsang. I won't speak a word about Kriya tomorrow. But I'll just lay the background for why one is required or why it's important or may be necessary to practice either Kriya or something similar to that, some kind of a technique. And then the next day, those who want to take Kriya can sit here, and the whole day we will spend in the practice of Kriya. And the practice, not just the theory. I would like you to go through the exact training required for that. This is the plan right now. So is that okay? Is that fair enough? And for those who have already taken Kriya, this will be a review. So I suppose we have to talk in English, right? Okay. So, why have I come here? What is the purpose of me going around this, almost all parts of the world? Maybe next year also to Borneo and places like that. Why am I running around like this and not wasting my time, but why am I working? One can choose to sit quietly at home, enjoy your meditation. Does my life depend on this? Or why am I doing it? Let me explain that first. Long ago, when I was a young man of 19, from tomorrow onwards we'll get serious, okay? When I was a young man of 19, I ran away from home and found myself in the Himalayas. Now, many of you who have read my autobiography or listened to my talks would know this somewhere. There I met my teacher, Maheshwarnath Babaji. Belonged to a particular tradition called the Nath Sampradaya. Nath. So he named me Madhukar Nath when he initiated me into this, which is M. And I spent some years with him. I learned what had to be learned. what he could teach me and what I could make my own and practice. Sometimes rigorous practice and so on. And I thought, now I'm happy. Wonderful. I continue to live in the Himalayas happily and enjoy the fresh air and so on. And a life without an agenda. A life without a blueprint. Free life. So I thought, I many times, physically and in my mind, I bowed down to Maheshwarnath Babaji, my Guru, and said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Brought me to such a wonderful situation now. Maybe I should remain here and enjoy myself. And then one day, I can never forget this. We were sitting near the foothills of Rishikesh. Foothills of the Himalayas, which is the Shivalik mountains near Rishikesh, little above, between Nilkant and Rishikesh. Nobody was there, quiet place. Babaji was there, I was there sitting on a rock and talking. He was a strange man. Sometimes he would talk yoga, Vedanta, sometimes he would talk about elephants and trees and cockroaches and things like that. One would think he has studied zoology or botany sometimes. Matted-haired man. So that day I said, Babaji, thank you very much. I'm going to enjoy this life. And he dropped a bombshell. He said, you need to go back. Okay? I said, go back where? He said, go back to where you came from. Lead a normal life, rather pretend to lead a normal life. Not normal actually. Pretend to lead a normal life, mix with people, have a family, get married, do some honest work for your living. And I said, and I said, even that was difficult. I said, why are you making me go back, get stuck in the mud? He said, look, you said to me that you will do whatever I asked you to do. Right? Didn't you say that? I said, yes, Babaji, I did. I thought in my mind in a moment of weakness, but I didn't say that. But that was not the biggest bomb. Came later. And then he asked me, 3 months after you came here, join me. One day I asked you, what do you think of yourself? I said, yes. What did you say? I said, Babaji, I'm like your puppy dog. I sit and look at you. And you probably don't know this, but in olden days, we had a recording studio and a loudspeaker and what is that called? Gramophone. The company was called His Master's Voice. Yeah, you see a dog sitting looking up at the loudspeaker, and as children we used to be asked, is that a male or a female, like a puzzle. It had to be a male, His Master's Voice, right? So, anyway, so I said, I'm like that. Then he said, and what did I tell you? He said, you said, you may be my puppy, but don't wag your tail too much. I said that? I said, yes, you said that. Then don't wag your tail, do exactly as I said. Okay. But that was not the end. Then I said, okay, we'll manage somehow. Then came the biggest bomb. He said, after some years, you should teach. I said, teach me? He said, yes. And hundreds of people will come around you. That really sunk my mind. I said, why would I be with hundreds of people? What? He said, the idea is, can you live in solitude in the midst of hundreds of people? If you can't, you have not already studied the Gita. Incidentally, the last few weeks, their time, we were having the Gita. Where was the Gita preached? He said. Where did Arjuna learn the Gita? In the middle of a battlefield. In the middle of the world you should be doing it, not outside in a cave, sitting somewhere quietly. What's the point? And then he gave me a beautiful example from the Buddhist tradition. He said in the Buddhist tradition, there are two kinds of perfected adepts. One is called the Arhat. Arhat is one who has experienced nirvana. He is very happy with it. He is sitting in nirvana. He doesn't go out, he doesn't do anything. He said there is another set of Arhats who have actually stepped across the border to nirvana. One foot is about to be taken off from the earth and put there. When they said, hey, wait, there are thousands of people in this world who are suffering, who don't understand how to free themselves. How would you selfishly go and enjoy this? Take at least one with you. And they come back. Such people, in the Buddhist terminology, Mahayana Buddhist terminology, are called the bodhisattvas. Out of compassion, out of kindness, out of feeling for fellow human beings. Please, I am not claiming to be a bodhisattva. He just gave me this example. And I was convinced. So I went back home, reluctantly of course. And then started working. Then I'm saying many of you must be working, doing many things, right? You may wonder how to be spiritual in the midst of all this. Well, here is a man sitting, proof. Of course, I had some solitary training, I don't deny that. If you tell me that we will all want to come and stay for 3 years with you, this is not going to work, unfortunately. So anyway, came back and found some work, travelled till Babaji attained Samadhi finally. I used to meet him every year for a few months, recharge myself. Then I got married. I have 2 kids now who are both married. Now, so do you think I'm free? No. Anyway, got married, had kids, still worked, taught, met many people. In the process, I also met important people in the spiritual field, and still I didn't teach. For a long time, I did not teach. And then many years later, I got some kind of a green signal, which I think is a green signal. I won't elaborate because it's there in the autobiography. I started to teach. There was no YouTube or nothing at that time, right? In the late 90s. Interested people used to gather. Incidentally, my first talk, which just happened, was in the Theosophical Society in Bangalore. And then it went on. But still it was quite under control. Then Babaji had told me, you need to write your autobiography. So reluctantly, after many years of working on it, making sure what I should put in or what I should not, I wrote the autobiography. It got published. And then the circus started. Till then, I was okay, I was living in Madnapalli quietly. Few people used to come to me. If you look at YouTube, you might find the Guru Mantra on YouTube. Now, Those days people used to follow me for months or maybe years before I gave the Guru Mantra. But then you can't do it, right? People are interested, you need to help them out. So this is how it all started. And here I am. 2 years I couldn't come because of COVID. I came here once before, if you remember. And then I couldn't come because of COVID. Interesting that I was on the last flight that left Melbourne to India. Otherwise I would have got stuck here for 2 years. Would have had more satsang. I was scheduled to, Sharad knows, I was scheduled to go to Sydney. In the midnight I got up and said, book me a ticket back tomorrow. He said, I don't know if it's going to work. I said, yes. So I got an Air India flight and went directly to Delhi. And that's it. There was no other flight coming out of Melbourne. So 2 years passed. Then I thought we should leave 1 year for people to recover. So 3 years passed. And now here I am. So this is why I am here. So tomorrow, the whole day, we will work on why one needs some kind of practice to open our minds. Theories are there. You can learn Vedanta, you can learn Tantra, you can learn Sankhya, all the Shastras. But unless there is a change in the mindset, come in please. There is no possibility of understanding what is being said. Because my understanding, okay, you may differ. Because the ordinary mind, when I say ordinary, not in a bad way, the average mind, which is stuck in its own images, in its own pictures, in its own system of thought processes, is not ready to touch that which is beyond the grasp of even the senses. So the mind has to be open, deconditioned. And Kriya is one of the yogic practices. I'm not saying that when people came to Babaji sometimes, rarely because he was unavailable, unavailable or non-available, whatever. People used to come, we want to learn Kriya from you, Babaji. And used to ask, what Kriya did Mira Bai do? Or on the side of knowledge, Jnana Marga, I'll explain. Not to you, some people may not understand. What Kriya did Ramana Maharshi do? He used to ask this question. Which doesn't mean that Kriya or even this Kriya is the only way to spiritual development. I don't agree with this. For those who don't know, when I mentioned Mira Bai, she was a queen in Rajasthan who fell in love with Krishna. There was no Krishna physically at that time, much later. She fell in love with Krishna. And she gave up everything and was always looking for a darshan. When I say darshan, vision of Krishna. And she got it. What Babaji meant was, did she practice any Kriya? No. So, even if you practice any Kriya, whatever be the Kriya, this or that, you need to have that one-pointedness, desire and devotion that Mira Bai had to find the truth. Otherwise, it's simply a mechanical practice. What Kriya did Ramana Maharshi do? Here was a man who at the age of 15 experienced something extraordinary. Even he was not practicing anything. We don't know if he had a guru. We don't know. He never said anything. At 15 he had an actual experience that he was not his body and his body was separate from him, lying there. And then he started questioning, if I'm not this body, then who am I? No, this is Ramana Maharshi. Everybody is not Ramana Maharshi. We can't, because of that, sit in a chair and say, who am I? Who am I? Don't get there. He asked, who am I? After having been convinced that he was not the body. So he said, since this is my experience, I am telling you that you are not the body, you are not the mind, therefore find out who you actually are. This was his teaching. He did not practice any Kriya. So it's not like that. However, there have been great yogis like Lahari Mahashay, Shamacharan Lahari, who practiced Kriya. So when you say Kriya, since day after tomorrow you are going to have, some of you are going to take Kriya. The word Kriya in Sanskrit simply means a technique, a Kriya. So why is this? This is to decondition your mind, which has been brought up in a very conditioned way, through influences, through birth, through various factors, even genetically. When Swami Vivekananda was once asked, is meditation self-hypnosis? He said it actually is de-hypnosis. He said for years we have already been hypnotized into believing that this is what it is all about, life. We have made our own structures and we are hypnotized by our own structures, not physical, mind structures. Meditation is how to decondition you from that, so that you see things as they are. If you see the things as they are, you'll see only one, and that is the truth, not many. So, when I say Kriya, it means that particular practice that has come to me from Sri Guru Babaji and Maheshwarnath. This is what I mean. Which doesn't mean that other Kriyas do not exist. Yes, they exist. Yoga, since it is part of Yoga Shastra, there are other Kriyas too. But please remember that not just the practice, but the determination and intention to find what you are seeking is as important as the practice of Kriya. Otherwise one doesn't move. If somebody told you this is a magic, like a snap of the fingers, you will attain moksha, sorry. You need to work on it. There is no shortcut to the truth. Yeah, there is a shortcut, very difficult shortcut. If you cut the ego into two, it is done. But this is not possible. So we can only open the mind and, like you peel an onion. You keep peeling one layer, then you peel another layer. Then finally you peel everything, there is nothing left. When this happens, Kriya takes effect. Till then, little by little, you enjoy. Sometimes you grow more, you feel you are better than you were before, and so on. Maybe you get some capacities and capabilities which are not there for an ordinary human, possible. But it doesn't end there. The journey doesn't end there. You need to move forward. So, this is what we are going to do. Tomorrow we are going to lay the foundation. Why? Many of you must have read the Bhagavad Gita, right? I hope so. No? You better get a copy and start. In the Bhagavad Gita, at the end of each chapter there is a beautiful declaration. It says, this is the Gita first. Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So this is the Bhagavad Gita. Upanishads, which means it is the study of the Upanishads. You know that Gita? The Upanishads are not so easy to understand, but the Gita is very easily understood, and it is the essence of the Upanishads. And what does the Upanishad teach? Brahma Vidyayam. So it says, The Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So this is the Bhagavad Gita. Upanishads, so the teaching of the Upanishad. Brahma Vidyayam, the knowledge of the Supreme Brahman. And then it adds one word. Why would they add that if there is no reason? Yoga Shastre. It is also the science of yoga. Then Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvad, the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. This Yoga Shastra is one, look, you can read any amount of Vedanta. You can say, I am the Brahman, but are you? I am the Brahman. I am unaffected by anything. Just test it out. Say you're a bloody fool. You'll see you're not Brahman anymore. So, it needs a certain opening up of the mind, the deconditioning of the mind. And there's several methods to do that, and Kriya is one of them. You know that since we mentioned the Bhagavad Gita, every chapter of the Gita is called a yoga. So, does Gita refer only to Abhyasa Yoga, which means the yoga of practice? Or are there other means? Every chapter is called a yoga. 18 chapters, 18 yogas. There are many actually, but the Gita has managed to put them in a bracket, so 18. And it's not a question of force. You can't force yourself to do Kriya. It's not, when I say I'm doing Kriya, it doesn't mean you're breathing with intensity. It's a technique. Learn the knack of it. There's something else like that, 18 chapters of the Gita. A full-fledged golf course has 18 holes. And you know that the golf ball doesn't reach there if you use all your force. You need technique. Your swing is wrong, you will not hit the ball, nor will it go forward. But there's also the 19th watering hole, we don't need it. We need self-watering. So, in the same way, now look at the first chapter of the Gita. It's called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. What is Vishada? Yoga of Arjuna's sorrow. Yoga of Arjuna's insecurity. Vishada combines all this. Yoga of Arjuna's indetermination. Yoga of Arjuna's confusion. So many of us stand there in the first chapter. Because when there is no confusion, there is no way to find, right? There is no indetermination. I will not work on myself, to determine myself, to go forward. When I have doubts, I need to solve them. And sorrow, we all know at some point in our lives, we are all faced with sorrow. There's nobody who is not. We can kind of push it under the rug and pretend nothing happened, but or water it down with the spirit that comes in bottles. But it's there, all the same, right? Some point or the other, we are faced with sorrow. Now the thing is, the sorrow that comes to us is actually an indication, hey, this is not the be-all and end of life, there's something more, can you move? But we tend either to ignore it, or to cover it up, or to entertain ourselves so that we don't feel it and never face it. This is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Arjuna is in that situation now. The teaching starts from there. The great founder of the Sikh Religion, Guru Nanak, said something very interesting. He said, Sukh mein sumiran, Sukh mein sumiran, नहीं, reverse. दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे न कोई. So which means dukh means sorrow. When sorrow happens, which we are not talking about religion, okay, talking about a great person called Guru Nanak, let's put it this way. He said that when there is sorrow, then people pray for. When okay, everything is hunky-dory, who wants to pray? Yeah, right? You might light a candle and quickly walk off, and that's all. So, all the pains, all the problems that arise make us think, is this all in life or is there something beyond? That's the first starting point. And then we start searching for the meaning of life. I know, look, in my life, I meet hundreds of people. Out of that, some of them, you would think they are very happy. They have everything that life can give. That's what we think when you see them. They have a fleet of the best cars available. They everything. But why are they coming to me? What can I give them? Nothing. If you look from a worldly stand, what can I give them? So that reminds me of a story. It's nice to tell a story, right? We'll get serious tomorrow, don't worry. There was a king in a small little kingdom which later on became big in the Punjab. And he wanted to expand his kingdom. So in those days, if you needed to expand your kingdom, you needed to get permission from the emperor, so-called emperor, who sat in Delhi in the Red Fort. So this period of time, the emperor was the last Mughal emperor in India, Bahadur Shah Zafar, who was himself a Sufi poet and not interested anyway in his affairs. So he went to him. Must have taken many days from Patiala or wherever to go on the horse. So he reached there and said, I've come for this. I need to expand my kingdom. I need help permission from you. I also need soldiers and arms and things like that. So the story is that the Mughal emperor said to him, go and look out of that window where I'm sitting. Go and look out. So he went and looked down. And he saw under a tree, there was a fakir sitting. You know what is a fakir? Shirdi Sai Baba was a fakir. A person who has nothing. Just wears torn clothes and just sat. And he looked down and there was a fakir sitting under the tree. He had a begging bowl for food. But he was laughing to himself, ecstatic, and putting his hands up, looking at the white sky and laughing at it. So he said, I saw this. He said, yes. You saw that fakir's face, he has nothing. Now look at the face of the emperor of Delhi. How happy do I look? He said, you look very sad. So you saw this? Yes. He said, now you go back, think about this, whether you really want to expand your territory, and then come back and I'll help you. The story is that the man never came back. He went off. Many years passed. The kingdom was without a king. So the brother took over the kingdom. And he was ruling. And then they decided that the king and his, what are they called, officials and relatives, they all wanted to go on pilgrimage to the Himalayan shrines. Now there are many beautiful Himalayan shrines, Badri, Kedar. The saddest thing is that there are cracks in Joshimath now. How do we do? How do we help? I really don't know. Anyway, so they were going on a pilgrimage. So when the king goes, there's a big paraphernalia following him, a lot of people. And also there is a very important Sikh shrine very close to Badrinath. It's on the Valley of Flowers, then you go on the right. Hemkund Sahib, yes. There's a beautiful lake called Hemkund there. So I've been there. Senile, becoming senile, forgot the name. So they were all going there. So somebody advised him, look, you're going on a pilgrimage, dangerous times, those days, even now it's not so easy. So take blessing from a great saint before you go. So the king said, but where are the saints? Show me. They said, there's a great saint sitting near Lakshman Jhula in Rishikesh, in a cave. Go take his blessings. So the king and his retinue went into the cave. And they saw a very tall yogi with hair all matted like her, sitting there, eyes closed and meditating. After a long time he opened his eyes. Then the king said, Maharaj. Now Maharaj is a word used for a king. It's also used for a holy man. Some places even cooks are Maharaj. So he said, Maharaj, we are going on a pilgrimage. We need your blessings. May we all come back in one piece. So the yogi put his hand up and said, Tathastu, which means so be it. The king heard the voice. Well, this is my brother's voice. It was the brother who had vanished, elder brother. So he said, brother, please come back to the kingdom. I am ruling because you are missing. Please come back and take over. He said, why? Why would I come back? He said, what did you call me just now? He said, I called you Maharaj. So I am the Maharaj of the universe. Why will I do it little Patiala? So he returned. That yogi lived for many years, I think 125 years or something. The ex-ruler of this principality in the border near Haryana and Chandigarh, Punjab, there is a tomb of his. So, this is the thing. So when we come face to face with this world, I'm not saying be happy, have a good cup of coffee, eat what you want, go to the seashore, enjoy yourself, but understand that there's something beyond. And the good news is that which is beyond is nearer to you than your own neck vein. Here. So why would we let it go? Why would we find it? So in the midst of the darkest times, we have a place to relax. We have a place to enjoy, sit calmly, be ourselves. You may call it God, you may call it the soul, you may call it the divine spark, call it what you want, it doesn't matter. The self. And it's in everyone. There is no race, there is no caste, there is no gender, there is no barrier. Swami Vivekananda once, speaking in England, said, in the midst of his talk. He was a very direct speaking person who brooked no nonsense. One day he suddenly said, "I'm a socialist." So everybody was shocked. Coming from a Vedantin, "I'm a socialist." He said, He said, "Why, Swamiji?" He said, "Because half a loaf is better than none." And then he said, "Wait, let me explain what I mean by being a socialist. Don't get me wrong." He said, all the political socialist theories have failed all over the world. But my socialism is different. Socialism means everybody is equal. It's failed everywhere, in all ways. But I believe and I experience the fact that there is a spark of the divine in me, in my heart. I also believe that every living being and human being has a spark of the divine in their hearts. Considering this, we are all equal. We are all the same. That is the meaning of my socialism. So he called it Vedantic socialism. So, wouldn't it be very wonderful if we experience even a bit of this and understand? So, my intention is this. To share this with you as much as I can, and as much as you can absorb, take it and see what we can do with it. This is the intention. If anyone takes Kriya the day after tomorrow, then please make sure that you practice regularly. Practice is of great importance. And don't get misled by any other thing which is not related to your pure being, like a Rudraksha or this is nonsense. Don't worry too much about all that. So, this is what I wanted to say. We have a little more time. So, in the healthy tradition of the Upanishads, do you have any questions? I think the generation that is here now, about 80 to 90% people can take Kriya. And if you are not fit for Kriya, somehow you wouldn't be here. Even if you try to get in here, you might get confounded. So I think whenever people are before me who want to take Kriya, then it's my duty to teach them Kriya. It depends on your practice, how much you can practice. So, all I need to say is that you cannot learn Kriya by reading books. It has to be taken personally from somebody who has already done his or her Kriya. So that problem is not there. I think now the future of civilization is much more than just frontal lobe civilization. Things are changing, and Kriya is one of the tools that can help one to move on this path. I don't want to use the word new age because it's been too much used and bandied about. But yes, this is a new world that's going to come about, and it depends on us how we change the world. And Kriya is a good tool to open up the mind and get one going. This is the reason why the great masters have also decided to make people like me scapegoats. Send me out to teach Kriya. Only the Ida is being taken care of. Come to Pingala after. This is difficult to discuss. Levels of time, it's a whole new subject. Tomorrow I'll touch upon it a bit as we go along, because we're going to do Kriya only next. But think about destiny and self-effort. It's a question that's been going around for thousands of years. And to use the words of the great Rishi Vasishtha, who is famous for Yoga Vasishtha. You see, there's something called Yoga Vasishtha. According to him, people who don't do anything, not my words, but simply say it is my destiny and carry on with life, they're donkeys. I mean, not my words. I don't dare to call anybody a donkey, but so says Vasishtha. Give it a thought. Not you. So, yes, indeed, it's fortunate to have a human body if it is used for good purposes, and it is one part of our incarnation which can be used for spiritual progress. Agreed. Now, for spiritual progress, you need to have two kinds of actions, which is what you do physically and what you do in this. When you say sushma, it could mean mind, it could mean your sushma sharira. A lot of things can be linked to this sushma word. Sushma simply means finer. Sthula means solid, physical. Both are interrelated. So, sometimes if you need to change a mind habit, you need to do through physical action. To say that in my mind I don't feel like killing anybody, but I will still shoot them because it is a physical action, doesn't gel with sadhana. Both should go together. So, while you have some responsibility to use your physical body, make sure that you do those actions which take you to the spiritual. The mind has its own tendencies which sometimes are carried from past birth, so they also have to be taken care of. Both have to be. You cannot isolate and keep one separate. Both have to be. Okay, this is something which I cannot tell you, right? You have to take a decision on this matter. But my suggestion is, if you are happy with what you are doing and if you want to continue to do it, then please do it. If you think things may be better by changing now, you are most welcome to change. The only thing which is not good is to mix. I mean, not useful to mix. It should be either rice or roti or dal, not khichdi, you know what I mean. Then you get into trouble. So, my suggestion is stay with your whatever you're doing, no harm, but think about it carefully, because if you take Kriya, then you might have to do Kriya, not mix both. Now the other decision is yours, it's up to you. So, look, it's like this. If you have taken Kriya from, say, I don't know what it's called here, the Yogoda Satsang Society, or what in the West is called the Self-Realization Fellowship, then you don't have to change, continue doing it. I'll help you, because it is the same source. If you're talking about some other Kriya, I don't know, so I can't say. You know what I mean? So think about it carefully. Or, there's a compromise, since you have come here. Do that, whatever you are doing at one time in the day, like morning, and in the evening do this. Don't mix. See what happened. I'm saying this because you're saying, I know you'll say, it's up to you. I'm giving you a direction. So, See, for me, your spiritual development is most important. Not you doing this or that. If it's to do with spinal surgery,
Yeah.
so will you be able to sit for some hours without straight, or is there pain?
Little pain is there.
Can you sit with a back rest?
Yes.
You can.
Yeah.
So you can do Kriya, because Kriya doesn't involve much of physical exercise. But then there's one called Mahamudra where when I explain tomorrow, you can figure it out day after. But otherwise, you need to sit at least for 45 minutes straight. If that doesn't cause discomfort, you can do Kriya. If it causes discomfort, you can use a back rest. This is too much actually. Something a little, some of those things which people carry these days, it has a cushion at the bottom and a backrest with canvas. I've seen this people carry. Are you sitting with that? Huh? Show me. She can see it. There, if you get something like that. Oh, this is a little big. Then you can use that. No harm. Don't do any part of Kriya which involves too much strain on your back for some time. I'm hoping that through the practice you may become better. That's what I believe. He's coming. Hey, this side there are some people. For a long time. Nobody likes the right side. Everybody is a leftist. Sushumna nadi is actually sushma, but it has a corresponding factor in the physical body, which is the spinal cord. Let me say, sushumna actually means the electricity that passes through a wire. Okay? Similar. Just giving you an exercise, not electricity. And the spinal cord is the wire. Let's put it this way.
So that's in the physical body, right?
Yes. This is why I said the physical and the subtle are always interlinked. Now I'll tell you, since you asked the question, in yogic teachings we have the chakras. They are also called padmas. There are 7 from Muladhara to the Sahasrara. The interesting thing is, corresponding to each chakra there is also a physical factor, which is everywhere you talk of a chakra, there is a plexus, nerve plexus, which means nerves from the spine come and join together in a plexus. Like solar plexus, everybody knows. It's here. If you give a good shot there for some time, you can't breathe. Good way for self-defense. Ladies, remember. One shot on the solar. So that's what I'm trying to say. Are you from Rajasthan?
Yes, I am from Rajasthan.
Khamagani. First time I went to Rajasthan and somebody said Khamagani. I didn't get it. I said, I just came. I thought they're saying come again. Keep your body in proper shape with a proper diet and proper yoga and proper meditation. In general, your body is kept in good health. And Kriya also, although it's not meant for physical well-being, well, not particularly meant for, it also results in physical health. And a person who deeply meditates generally does not have anxiety. All this is part of, but that is not the aim. Its aim is spiritual progress. Look, now I am 73 years old, right? I don't think, maybe one day we should try with the hand. What is that called? So I don't feel any weaker than any less stronger than, say, somebody who's 25, 26. I don't have any secrets, except that I sometimes do a little, if I say that, everybody will ask for that, a little bit of kaya kalp, just to keep the body going, because I need to teach, I need to travel, right? But if you teach that, people open shop immediately. Already in India there are kaya clinics, kaya kalp. So, even the proper diet, good air to breathe, pure water, yogasanas, mulas, bandhas, and Kriya Yoga I've added, can to a great extent take care of your health and keep the process, your metabolism can be manipulated in such a way that there is less distraction and there is more creation than distraction of the cells, like there is more anabolism and less catabolism. Although what is required has to go, because if the old doesn't move out, there is no space for the new, right? But it can be limited to a great extent. There is no specific medicine that I can. No, I don't believe about this destiny. That's a terrible thing. That's a terrible thing to believe in. You will do nothing. But it is true that there is a background for us. Everybody has a background. For instance, let me tell you. Of course, if I say this, then astrologers will be out of business. Sorry. But as we are sitting here, we are the result of a 3 million years of genetic evolution. Biologically, yes or no? Yes. So therefore, many of the blueprints of our genes will be different. It may not be the same for all. Even we look different. So there is a rough blueprint of propensities, like that. What is any other word for propensity? What? Tendencies. So these tendencies may be different for different people. That is not decided by us. So therefore you may call it destiny, if you want to use that word. But given the tendencies, you still have freedom to work on them. You have been given a brain and a mind. There are two separate things according to me. To work on these tendencies and decide, look, even if we go to a sari shop, you are wearing a sari, will you depend on your destiny or will you buy what you like to buy? Destiny. Yes. You will buy what, but believe me, what you think you want to buy is because of a certain wiring in your system. There is no confusion there. There is a wiring in the system which is acquired and which also has come from your past, which makes that choice. But I think I am making the choice. I can't say I will not make a choice. I let destiny take, after 10 minutes, 15, 1 hour, the sari seller, the owner will tell, hey, better find some other customer. This lady is not going to buy the sari. So, somewhere one has to take a decision. I am saying don't leave the decision to say that I will, when it happens, it will happen. Look, as I am sitting here, when I was a young boy, Babaji came to me. I can't say whether it was destined or whether he wanted to do it. Okay, one thing. Suppose you believe in destiny. Totally. If you totally believe in destiny, then don't take any decisions. There are such people, I am telling you. A little bit. And then if something wrong happens, don't cry. It is destined to happen, so it happened. There are some people who live like that also. Rare, but also, okay, we'll leave it there. A lot of things to go into this question. So what you are saying is that the younger generation and this modern world is now becoming more and more, is not looking at reality. No, 1 minute. They think that they are looking at reality and all spiritual things are unreal. That's their thought process. So you are unique that you are thinking that it is so. Everybody is not thinking so, right? So therefore, this is the time when you should equip yourself with more understanding in these matters so that you begin to understand what is real and what is we think is real and what is actually real. And I think on one hand there is this tendency, but there is also the tendency in some young people, like you for instance, and I'm very happy, I see many young people here, that they are also beginning to question, is this all to life or is there something more? Which is also there. It's not just one side. Right? So expose yourself to these teachings, try to understand. My suggestion would be that you go through a simple translation of the Upanishads, for instance, and see how they look at this thing about reality. I don't want to go into that right now. Tomorrow we will start the class with reality. What is reality, or what we think is reality, or is there a reality other than what we think it is? Or is this all there is to reality, or are there some other chapters to it? We will go into this tomorrow. I'm glad you brought up the subject because I feel today that I get more young people coming and listening. And I'm very happy about it because the future is in your hands. You won't commit the same mistakes as what happened in the generation before you. At least you're exposed to the teachings, and this is why I'm also running around. Why do you think why can't I sit at home? I have a grandson now. Look, a couple of things. One is when you sit down, one is you see the need to go into yourself to meditate, one step. And when you sit down to meditate, you begin to feel after some time that it's not so difficult to get into meditation. If that happens, then you're moving somewhere. Okay? 2, that your mind is not agitated by reverses that happen in life. Like, there is a nice description in the Gita. Krishna calls it sarvatra samabuddhaya. That means at all times can the mind be kept tranquil. Under all circumstances. Because in this world, circumstances are not always going to be the same. They can change. They will change. In the midst of all these circumstances, even emotional temptations or even insults, can the mind be kept in its quietness, quietude rather? Can the mind remain unmoved by these reverses, for instance? This is and the third sign, very important. Am I becoming a better human being? Am I thinking more about others? I mean, we have to think about yourself, but also do I also have a little part of my mind thinking of others? If these 3 things are happening in some proportion or the other, they differ with different people, then you are moving spiritually. Suppose I say I can meditate, I can be absorbed in myself for more than 2 hours a day, but I'm very cruel to my neighbor, then it's not moving. Something is wrong there. Because when you touch that which is inside, you also see that outside. Look, somebody the other day told me, look, I'm in a way quite spiritual. I said, why do you say that? I said, because I don't practice anything, but I look after my wife, I look after my kids, so I am quite spiritual. I said, okay. So the hen, the monkey, the crocodile, the tortoise, they're all spiritual. They also look after their little ones. It's built into the brain to look after the little ones. It's nothing very saintly to do that. I know there are people who don't, that is different. The moment I also feel the same pain for the neighbor's child, please, no hidden agenda here, then then I'm growing, right? It reminds me of a joke, I don't know whether I should say. One of my friends went to a home and he was talking to the lady and the husband. And this little boy ran into the house and this friend of mine said, "Oh my God, he looks so much like the father," and the wife said, "He's the neighbor's child." You hear the sound and you are hearing it. So you said when there is no thought, but when I am hearing it, there is a thought that I am hearing it. So you are not out of thought.
I mean, like I'm not thinking about I'm hearing it, I know there is a sound like.
Yeah, so you are there, right, to hear the sound. So there is thought already there. It's not without thought. Yes, I can understand when the mind becomes quiet, you hear some sound. That sound is called the anahat, the sound made without physical contact. It's an inner sound. It's good to hear that sound because then if you allow your mind to be with that sound, it will take you into deeper meditation. Still, thought is there because it's like saying, now I am thoughtless. Who is saying that? Do you want to hear it or is it unpleasant? I think you should leave it now. Just leave it now. But if it's an irritating sound, no. If it's an irritating sound which is loud and screeching and which is bothering you, then it's a good idea to see an ENT specialist. No, I'm not joking, sorry. At times, But don't try to get there. Let it be as it is. Maybe it will come again sometime. देखिए ऐसा है देखने से अच्छा अनुभव करना है क्योंकि अगर ऐसा दिख भी जाए तो जब वो गायब हो जाएगा फिर भी वो चिंता आती रहेगी आपको को फिर देखना है अगर वो अनुभव हो जाए कि एक दिन आपको लगा कि आप नहीं हैं मैं हूँ, ये सबसे अच्छी चीज़ है। इसलिए आपकी प्रार्थना जो है उसको ऐसा मत बोलिए कि मुझे दर्शन होना है, बोलिए कि मुझे अनुभव होना है। अनुभव कैसा होगा, आपको कैसे दर्शन होगा, वो अपने आप समझा जाएगा। आप उसमें बाबा जी को समझाने की ज़रूरत नहीं, खाली बोलिए आप कि मुझे ये प्रार्थना मेरी है कि मुझे वो अनुभव हो जाए जिससे मुझे लगे कि आप हैं मेरे पास, ऐसा सोचिए। तो फिर दर्शन भी नहीं होगा तब कुछ होगा आपको, उसको ही दर्शन कहते हैं। दर्शन का मतलब कभी कभी गलत समझते हैं लोग। दर्शन का मतलब कुछ रूप को देखें, ये नहीं है दर्शन। दर्शन का मतलब है अनुभव करें। अब इन भारत में इतने दर्शन हैं, वेदांत, सांख्य, योगा, न्याय, ये सब दर्शन है। इसका मतलब नहीं है कि दर्शन का मतलब कि देखा जाए, दर्शन का मतलब है उसका अनुभव हो जाए, ये है। तो ये प्रार्थना कीजिए। सॉरी, ग्रीक एंड लैटिन। How old are you?
16.
At this age, emotions and emotional conflicts, very common. We have all passed through this at 16. In the teens, it is like that. So you need someone, so look, I'm here and I go up tomorrow. Yeah. You need someone, your parents or someone close to you, who can actually, with whom you can, without any reserve, open up and discuss matters. Don't keep these things hidden in your mind. Talk to them. Many things are sorted out by talking, discussing these matters. That's the only way you can do it. I wish I was here, living in Melbourne, so you can come every week on Saturday and have a chat. But I'm not, you see. So it's rather difficult to do that. I understand you. I have a daughter who also passed through. This happens. Don't get worried and frightened about it. This is normal. See, in the teens, there is also a lot of hormonal activity going on in the body. And many experiences happen to you, new experiences. So it's normal and natural that you're conflicted sometimes. But first accept the fact that this will also move off. At some point I will come to terms and understand this. Be brave in this matter. Don't let yourself be defeated. Okay? Look, in my case, I had a teacher with whom I lived, and it helped me to accelerate. And the reason why this acceleration happened, in which my teacher helped me, was because tomorrow I can go out and start your engines. So you don't have to live. I'm a loner, but apart from that, you don't have to live with me like that, like I lived, Master, to attain this. I think with a little bit of sincerity and one-pointedness, one can achieve in this life itself. But your priorities have to be worked out. If that is my first priority, that I want to achieve, and there is nothing more I want except spiritual fulfillment, if that's my first priority, then believe me, you can do it. You need grace, of course, but when there is that one-pointed attention, then the grace flows. You know, the grace is everywhere. Our windows are not open. Grace is something which is there always for us human beings, but we keep the grace successfully out by not opening our windows and doors. All the sadhana that you do is merely to open the windows. And then be patient. Nobody can say when the breeze blows, right? Don't give up. One day you'll get that sweet, fragrant breeze coming in. And then you realize, now all the work that I've done has succeeded. And have faith, at least in your understanding, that one day I will reach there. Don't give up. You will also reach there.
Thank you, sir.
And since you have here met me, then I will also keep this in mind, that you want to reach. What else can I do? I think now we should stop. It's 5:30, right? Can we take this brush out?